Have you ever wondered why you keep making the same mistakes, even when you know you'll regret them? What lies behind these repetitions could change everything. There's an invisible, silent cycle controlling your decisions without you even noticing. And the truth is tough. Blaming luck or other people won't solve anything. But there is a way to see what no one else sees, to finally break the patterns holding you back. Every gesture, every choice can turn the game around. Are you ready to discover what really makes you repeat the same mistakes? And how to start transforming them from the inside out. Have you ever caught yourself reliving the same mistakes like you're trapped in an invisible loop, even knowing you'll regret it afterward? It's like watching a movie on repeat, but you can't change the ending. That emotional déjà vu is more common than you think, and it often makes us question our own ability to learn from life. There's something silent working behind the scenes of your mind, and that's exactly what we're about to explore. Sometimes, even with full clarity and the intention to change, we end up stumbling into the same traps. The mind seems to play hide and seek, offering subtle hints but letting your consciousness believe you're in control. How many times have you promised yourself you wouldn't repeat a behavior, only to realize, days later, that everything has returned to square one? This dance between intention and repetition is quiet, but incredibly powerful. Every repeated mistake carries a message your conscious mind hasn't decoded yet. It's as if each stumble is a code waiting to be translated. The unconscious mind observes, records, and acts, often before we can even respond. It's in this silent mechanism that frustration takes root, making it feel like habits are controlling you, when in reality, they are signals waiting to be understood. Notice how small, everyday situations trigger automatic, almost mechanical reactions, forming invisible patterns. These hidden paths inside you reflect fragments of your own history that haven't yet been acknowledged. Every small insight is an invitation to dive deeper, and it's exactly this dive that will lead us to the next step. Understanding how invisible parts of your personality influence your choices without you even realizing it. There are parts of our personality that exist beyond the reach of consciousness, quietly shaping decisions without us noticing. It's like there's a secret room inside the mind where desires, fears, and impulses accumulate, silently observing our actions. Often we're surprised by behaviors we don't understand, and the key to this understanding lies precisely in that hidden space. Acknowledging that something invisible is at work is the first step toward making sense of patterns that seem inexplicable. These unknown areas influence everything from small, everyday choices to major life decisions and can show up in subtle ways. For instance, sudden irritation with someone close or an internal resistance to an important opportunity can be reflections of this shadow. It's fascinating to realize that what we often criticize most in others or external situations is frequently a mirror of something unintegrated within ourselves. This revelation opens the door to question how our own hidden parts shape our life. Imagine realizing that a habit that seemed random, like procrastinating or avoiding conflict, actually emerges from deep layers you hadn't seen before. It's like discovering an invisible character is directing the story without your noticing. Many people only become aware when the pattern repeats painfully, like dropping out of courses or repeating the same type of relationships. These small clues act as signals, asking for attention before they become bigger obstacles. As you begin identifying these shadows, a path opens to observe how the unconscious operates in daily life. At this point, it becomes clear that life isn't just about conscious choices, but also about recognizing the impulses moving beneath the surface. And it's precisely this awareness that prepares the mind for the next step, noticing how we project insecurities and flaws onto others, repeating negative patterns that aren't solely part of the external world. Often, what we see in others is a reflection of what we carry inside. It's like looking into a mirror, But instead of seeing our own face, we see projections of our insecurities, fears, and judgments. This unconscious mechanism silently influences relationships, creating tensions and conflicts that seem external but have deep roots in our own psyche. Understanding this process is like turning on a light in a dark room that's always been there. Notice how certain behaviors in people close to you trigger intense emotions, often disproportionate to the actual situation. That sudden irritation, jealousy, or discomfort may say more about you than about them. It's fascinating to see that by projecting our shadows onto others, we repeat patterns we already know, without realizing we carry the responsibility of looking inward. Everyday examples, like recurring arguments, illustrate this phenomenon perfectly. Imagine a coworker or partner who seems constantly critical. Often, this perception is fueled by insecurities you haven't integrated yet. It's as if we project what we want to hide or deny in ourselves onto the outside world. A friend who reacts with anger can stir fear or anxiety in you, not necessarily because of them, but because of the reflection of something unresolved inside. With this awareness, even small interactions gain a deeper meaning. Understanding this process creates space to recognize automatic, repetitive patterns in relationships. By realizing that projection is a mirror of your own unconscious, you begin to notice how small, everyday situations act as triggers. And it's exactly this awareness that leads us to the next step. Identifying the triggers that activate automatic, often self-sabotaging behaviors, opening the door to understanding the cycle that keeps repeating. Everyday situations can spark automatic responses that we don't always understand. A misunderstood comment, a sideways glance, or even unexpected news can trigger intense emotions, as if we're reacting to something far bigger than it really is. These are triggers, subtle signals from the unconscious that reveal repetitive behavior patterns. Noticing these moments is like discovering hidden maps, showing where old habits still hold sway over us. Often, triggers seem insignificant, but carry unexpected emotional weight. A simple delay from someone can ignite irritation, recalling past experiences, or a compliment may create discomfort, touching deep insecurities. By paying attention to these reactions, you start noticing how the body and mind respond before consciousness even has a chance to process them. These are signs that something larger lies beneath the impulse, something that deserves careful attention. Imagine realizing that every time someone disagrees with you, a feeling of anger or frustration automatically surfaces. This pattern isn't random. It's a reaction stored, often from past experiences, repeating without your awareness. Identifying triggers is like learning to read secret codes of your own behavior, signals pointing to areas that need attention and opportunities for growth. Small observations made with curiosity and without judgment reveal a lot about your inner dynamics. As you begin recognizing these triggers, a space opens to observe how the unconscious maintains habits that seem inevitable. Each automatic reaction is an invitation to understand the cycle that repeats, a clue about how self-sabotage manifests. And it's precisely this awareness that prepares you for the next step, understanding the self-sabotage cycle, where these automatic patterns solidify into habits that hold you back. Often we repeat patterns that seem uncontrollable, as if we're stuck on a carousel that never stops. This is the self-sabotage cycle, a silent dance between conscious intentions and unconscious impulses. Each automatic action reinforces old habits, keeping us trapped in behaviors we know are harmful. Understanding this cycle means realizing that the problem isn't a lack of willpower, but the presence of invisible mechanisms working behind the scenes of the mind. It's fascinating how small daily decisions can feed this cycle without us noticing. A negative thought about yourself, a postponed choice, or constant inner criticism fuels patterns we want to break. Often the cycle emerges in critical moments, at work or in relationships, where emotional tension amplifies automatic reactions. Recognizing the signs is the first step to breaking the silent rhythm that keeps us stuck. Imagine noticing that whenever you try to move forward on a project or set a boundary, an inexplicable internal resistance appears. This resistance isn't coincidence. It's the shadow of an unconscious habit saying, "You're not ready to change yet." It's as if each conscious attempt at change is being evaluated by an internal observer, testing your consistency and persistence. Small everyday clues, when observed, reveal a lot about the cycle keeping you trapped without realizing it. By understanding how this cycle works, you begin to notice recurring behavior patterns, even in different situations. Each repetition is an opportunity to learn, a chance to see how old habits shape choices and emotions. This awareness paves the way for the next step, recognizing repetition, where practical exercises help you notice patterns without judgment, giving you your first real control over the invisible cycle. Recognizing recurring patterns is the first step in breaking cycles that repeat unconsciously. Often we look at life and see only the outcomes, without noticing that habits and reactions are repeating automatically. It's like observing the surface of a lake without seeing the whirlpools swirling beneath. Spotting these repetitions requires attention and curiosity, without judgment, just careful observation of what naturally arises in thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Small exercises can help bring this awareness into daily life. Writing down moments of frustration, irritation, or fear right after they happen allows patterns that would otherwise go unnoticed to emerge. Observing situations that trigger discomfort, like criticism, conflicts, or tough decisions, helps map triggers and automatic responses. This habit of journaling creates clarity, making visible the patterns that were previously operating behind the scenes of the mind. Imagine noticing that certain arguments or decisions always follow the same script, regardless of context or the people involved. This realization isn't about assigning blame, it's about creating space for reflection. It's like looking at a map of behaviors. The paths already traveled become clear, revealing deviations and shortcuts that were once invisible. Each insight generates autonomy, preparing the ground for conscious change. Integrating the shadow is more than just recognizing hidden aspects of your personality. It's about accepting that they are part of who you are. Often we resist these parts, trying to suppress or ignore them, but that only strengthens automatic patterns. It's like trying to push water with your hands. The harder you push, the more difficult it becomes. Conscious acceptance allows what once operated in secret to become transformative energy, ready to be used constructively. When you integrate the shadow, every automatic reaction gains new meaning. That sudden anger, insecurity, or inner criticism stops being just a problem and becomes a signal, a clue about what needs attention and care. It's fascinating to realize that aspects that once scared or embarrassed, you can, when integrated, strengthen your personality and create emotional freedom. Everyday examples, like managing a conflict at work or home, show how this integration changes the experience. Imagine treating old fears and impulses as allies instead of enemies. A habit that once seemed sabotaging when understood reveals hidden patterns of self-protection and learning. Reading books like Carl Jung's Man and His Symbols, or practicing guided reflections on difficult emotions, can help bring awareness to these hidden parts. Each insight is a key, unlocking doors that were once closed, making behaviors less automatic and more conscious. As you progress in this process, space is created for emotional energy to be released and directed in healthier ways. This freedom forms the foundation for small but significant changes that impact decisions, relationships, and habits. And it's exactly this preparation that leads us to the next step: small changes, big results. where conscious actions start breaking unconscious habits, revealing the real power of attention and intention. Small daily changes can create surprisingly powerful impacts, even when they seem insignificant. Shifting an automatic thought, choosing a different reaction, or dedicating just 5 minutes to conscious reflection already starts breaking deeply ingrained patterns. It's like removing a stone from a river. The current shifts direction, subtly but consistently. Each conscious action creates an opportunity to interrupt cycles that once felt inevitable. These changes don't need to be dramatic or radical. Consistency outweighs intensity. A simple habit like journaling about emotions daily or responding to challenging situations with mindful observation can transform old patterns. Small examples include choosing to listen instead of reacting, taking a breath before responding, or setting clear boundaries. These gestures may seem minor, but they reflect significant conscious strength. Imagine noticing that by applying subtle adjustments to your routine or interactions, automatic behaviors begin to lose power. What once seemed unavoidable can now be observed, questioned, and eventually transformed. Reading books like Carol Dweck's Mindset or practicing daily reflection on decisions and emotions supports this process. Each small victory reinforces control over unconscious habits and boosts self-confidence. By implementing conscious changes, space opens for emotional energy to be redirected positively. Repeating small actions creates a cumulative effect that, over time, transforms how you respond to situations and make decisions. And it's this preparation that naturally leads to the next step, where we'll explore how personality types influence behaviors, giving even more clarity on what drives repetitive patterns. Understanding how personality types influence behavior is the next step in advancing self-knowledge. Everyone reacts differently to challenges, triggers, and changes, and recognizing these differences allows you to act with greater clarity and effectiveness. It's like studying the terrain before building. Knowing the ground helps plan safely, avoiding surprises and unnecessary frustration. This awareness is essential for deepening your understanding of recurring patterns. Observing how your natural tendencies shape choices and reactions provides valuable insight into unconscious habits. An introvert may respond more internally and reflectively, while an extrovert tends to act impulsively. Recognizing these nuances helps explain why certain strategies work better for some than others. Everyday examples, like how someone handles criticism or conflict, clearly illustrate how personality shapes behavior. Imagine aligning your decisions and actions with an understanding of your internal structure. Recognizing repeating patterns isn't just about observing mistakes, it's about understanding the roots of automatic responses and how each personality type reacts to them. Books like Jung's Psychological Types or Guided Reflections on Personal Traits help map these influences. Each insight is another step toward gaining control over the invisible cycle that keeps leading us to repeat mistakes. With this preparation, the mind becomes more aware of its own tendencies and triggers, creating space for more effective interventions. It's like having an internal manual explaining why certain situations trigger automatic reactions and how to interact with them more intelligently. And it's precisely this awareness that sets the stage to explore deeper patterns and strategically act on cycles that once seemed inevitable, connecting everything we've learned so far. Now that you've started seeing the invisible cycle that keeps leading you to repeat the same mistakes, it's time to put this knowledge into action. Observe your patterns, recognize your triggers, and reflect on every choice. It's not about perfection, it's about awareness. Every small action you take can shift the direction of your life. Ask yourself, in which moments do you act on impulse, and where could you respond with more clarity? This is your invitation to look inward and take control over what once seemed inevitable. Remember, every insight you apply creates space for smarter decisions, healthier relationships, and more conscious habits. Change doesn't happen overnight, but each step, no matter how small, has a powerful cumulative effect. Think of the little gestures you can implement right now, like pausing before reacting or noticing recurring patterns in daily situations. The impact will be deeper than you imagine. If you truly want to transform your patterns and understand how your personality type influences your choices, the next video in the series is essential. There, we'll explore how different traits shape behavior and how to use that knowledge to make more conscious decisions. Don't miss this opportunity to deepen your journey and gain practical tools to break old cycles. So, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and follow every step of this transformation. Keep learning, applying, and expanding your awareness. And while you're at it, check out another video appearing on the screen now. It complements exactly what we explored here and will help you take the next step in your personal growth.